Okay. I just want to. So, as you know, though I've been acting like I'm trying to be anonymous, which I'm really not. I find that being anonymous actually really boring. Um, well, this is going to be like the greatest violation of anonymity because I'm literally showing one of the writings that I'm working on. I know that it's 480p, the quality, so you're not going to actually be able to read the words, but this is something I'm working on. In regards to things that have been said about my book when I've tried to upload it to certain websites, which I understand, and I'm not here to complain. I'm just here to address certain things. I'm not gonna go, oh, I hate the TED K archive for not uploading my writing. I'm not gonna do that. I don't really care because I get it. I get that there has to be a platform, there has to be certain rules, and I understand that. I just wanted to address the things that were said about my writing in that, such as supposedly first of all, necrophile apologia. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, that one I'm sorry. I guess I could see. It's I feel like it's something that I'm not really going to talk about. I'm sorry if I've said anything about. Let me lower this. I'm talking better than I usually do on an average day, so let me lower this a bit. Um, I'm not really going to apologize for what I said about that because I feel like, to a degree, as long as it's consensual, okay, I understand that in my earlier writings, and again, I critique my earlier writings a lot. In my earlier writings, at the start of of the book that will go unnamed, I did write something that I guess could be seen as non-consensual apologia for non-consensual necrophilia, and I actually apologize for that because I realized that again, objects have rights, and also people have rights to their body after their death. So that my old argument was kind of wrong to a degree, since even objectophilia you would have to have some basis of consent. So I apologize for that. Actually, I really do. I can't really erase it from the book because I've gone on to say that I'm not going to censor anything of what I've previously written, no matter how bad it is. And I've written like pretty bad things that I feel like I do regret. But none of it is as bad as what some of these people say. Okay, so outside of the necrophilia thing, which I've decided only really consensual necrophilia should be accepted in modern day society, well, not in modern day society, but in any progressive society, considering that non-consensual necrophilia is un- abhorrent. Anything that is non-consensual is abhorrent. Consent is one of the greatest things to happen to anyone. Consent, I said consent is the greatest thing to happen to anyone. Consent is one of the foundations of progressive thought. And I feel like, consent is very important. Um, so what I'm trying to say basically is that I'm sorry for the non-consensual necrophilia apologia. I do regret it. But that's not my point. That is not my point. Um, the other things. Um, the claim that I am an apologist for pedophilia. That is incorrect. In my analysis of youth liberation, and okay, I don't know if I've written. Look, I'm actually going to be completely honest here. I don't remember writing a lot of the first half of the book, and if I wrote something that actually was a genuine apology for pedophilia, I'm actually going to be fairly disgusted. But I'm believing that I didn't do that because my youth liberationist analysis of the oppression of the youth is directly founded upon the idea that the patriarchy is explicitly pedophilic and that it's a bad thing, it's a very oppressive thing, and that the majority of the oppression of the youth originates from historical pedophilia. I don't I don't glamorize like the relationship between a child and an adult. I believe that is horrendous. It's as bad as a straight couple. And if you know, I believe that heterosexuality is coercive. So too is the pedophilia coercive. Um, I know that I used to write things about rad queerism. I used to be a rad queer, of course, but I was never pro contact, and I believe only index that people who are attracted to children, as long as they aren't child predators, they get uh, the right to live, because we shouldn't kill people based off of their attraction. We should kill abusers, sure, but I'm not gonna say that we should kill every heterosexual, because again, I mean, heterosexual men, they are abusers, and I think that that is bad, but I don't think that heterosexuality, just as an attraction, is something that one could claim as a defense to. I'm not an apologist for pedophilic relationships. That's a very strange accusation to throw at me, considering that I critiqued, and I used to be extremely anti-pedophilia. Actually, I used to advocate for killing all pedophiles. I acknowledge that that was actually extremely reactionary of me to um, advocate for murdering people based off of attraction. I realized that that was horrendous, and I severely apologized. I am on NNIA, and I understand that that could be seen as like a pedophilia apologist place, but it's really not. It's anti-contact, and it actually has gone to dox child predators, which I think is good, or pro-contact individuals. And to a degree, I don't support any sort of child-adult relationship, nor do I make apology for it. I actually think it's quite horrendous, and just in general, I don't know how people could accuse me of thinking that. Um, I am a youth liberationist. I will always be against child adult relationships because I think that is disgusting. Um, and I think that any youth liberationist who thinks child adult relationships are okay um, should analyze their theory, and the historical role of a child more than whatever they have so far, because it's clearly not. That's like saying heterosexuality is okay, and I don't believe it is. Um, I still do. I don't agree with rad queer ideology anymore. Actually, I've gone on to say rad queers are actually reactionary and mostly very um. Just look at who coined the term rad queers. It was a horrible person. The entire ideology has been rooted in horrible actions. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't identify with the rad queer movement at all, in any way, anymore. And I'm not a pedophile apologist. I actually don't like child predators, believe it or not. I've met I've met an adult who tried to groom me once. That didn't work. I ghosted him. But just to make clear, I don't really like the accusation of me being a pedophile apologist, considering that um I'm really not, and I find it a bit insensitive. Um, what else? Oh yeah, on Adam Lanza. I do not believe he's a great thinker, and the reason why I quote him at all, or like talk about his ideas at all, is specifically because of the cultural critique aspect. I only believe that his ideas are. I only believe that only his ideas. I don't support his actions at all, and I find his life to be horrendous. I actually really do not like Adam as an individual. I believe that he is a horrible person. He's also a pedophile who wrote an essay try, trying to justify child adult relationships, and he tried to join NAMBLA. I don't know if he actually succeeded, but again, I don't like him. I had to write a critique of his essay because I found that too many people try to like point to that. I've seen like one or two people try to point to that essay as like some sort of um pro contact youth liberation thing, and I have to like critique that essay, and I did critique that essay on the account that it's completely missing the point on why it's abusive. And again, pedophilia, it is abusive. Pederasty, it's all abusive. Um, I'm going to be for real, so I just walked into the room and I forgot what I was going to say or what I was talking about. But I don't think Adam Massa is a great thinker at all, and the only reason I've had to write extensively about him is specifically, I mean, first of all, I've had to critique his theory and his ideas and what led him to his horrible action, which again find horrendous in every way or form. I've written about how disgusting he is to me and how I can't stand the fact that he exists. Honestly, I don't really feel good talking about him right now. The only reason I have to write about him is because I have to write about culture, and I do hate culture. I've way before Lanta, I've hated culture. That's something that's been consistent about me. Um, when I read Lanta, I first thought that yeah, I did think he was a good theorist when I first read him because of his critique of culture. But when I really looked into it and I developed my own really complaints about culture, I found that Lanta is shallow. He is empty. He is hollow. He's just putting out an idea, his hatred of culture, and that's it. And then he actually critiques value. He hates value. That's his main thing. Ulafism or whatever. He's a shallow thinker. He's not a great thinker at all. And I did not write hundreds of pages about him. I don't think I wrote hundreds of pages. That's an over exaggeration. And I don't think he's a great thinker at all, really. I think he's really horrible. I just needed to make that clear. On my writings of, and I do remember this. I do remember I had some stupid psychoanalytic thing about pedophilia and the cute and whatever. Ignore all of that. I fucking hate psychoanalytics. I'm gonna be so for real right now. I hate everything I try to psychoanalyze. I hate all my old economic theories. That's what happens when you're just sleep deprived and you're writing bullshit and you didn't read actual economics. I'm reading I'm reading Jacques Comet's Capital and Community right now, and this is uh, probably better than anything I've ever written. I swear. And again, that's because there's just certain aspects where people are just better and better at thinking about things, and certain aspects where you just can't. I don't think that I should be trying to learn about psychoanalysis analysis and trying to do all of this because I'm not going to be good at it. I'm going to make stupid bullshit like whatever I wrote about pedophilia and the cute. Whatever psychoanalysis I was trying to do there with my cosmology, it sucked, and I hope everyone knows that I completely disowned that. Whatever it was, it's annoying. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I'm not a pedophile apologist. I'm 15 years old, and I'm not groomed. I'm not in contact with any adult. Uh, I am I am 15 years old. I have not been in rad queer communities in a long time, and nor did I like any rad queer community. I'm not a rad queer. I do not support child adult relationships. I do not support any form of discrimination based off of attraction, though. And that includes like paramisia. Um, I do not think Adam Lancer is a great thinker. I actually think he's pretty shallow, and the only reason I have to quote him is because most of what he said I would have said first if it wasn't for him, but because I don't want to be a plagiarist, and because he still, represents something that I read and I learned from, even if his ideas were shallow, like consistent progressivism is shallow. I still had to quote them, and I hate them, and I wrote like multiple pages of critique of them, like I don't know if it was like 60 or something. But again, I don't like the novelists. I don't like Adam Nance. I don't like these people. I think they're shadow thinkers, but they still had influence, so I still have to quote them, regardless of how horrible their views are and how horrible they are. And what else? Oh yeah, necrophilia apology. I'm not a necrophile apologist anymore. I'm not a non-consensual necrophile apologist. I don't care what you do if you have consent. If you wanna die and consensually have your corpse, that's on you. But I'm not a non-consensual necrophile apologist anymore. I regret what I've written in hyperborean ideology, and the only reason that I still try to continuously try to upload it and release it to the public is because I feel like there are certain things I said in there which I feel like are important, like my analysis on youth liberation. I do think my analysis on youth liberation it feels important. At least to me, it feels important. Or my writings about the abolition of work. Well, the critique of Bob Black's abolition of work and other things. I feel like these are important, and since I am writing another thing, fragments of an absolute, I feel like it's also important that I have the other book released so that my this book makes sense. I don't. I understand the decision made by the TED. Okay, archive. I don't hate you. I'm not like one of those people who hate anyone who dares to censor them. I don't care. I get it. I understand. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Okay? And yeah. For anarchist library, no, it makes total sense. I'm not an anarchist. I was an anarchist. I'm not an anarchist. It makes sense that they took it down. Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, that's on me. If anyone could recommend any websites that I could release the book on, I'd be pretty happy about that because I've been struggling trying to find a website. I just yeah. Also, I do not support any of what I said in the first half of the book because I don't even remember writing it, and I probably wrote some horrible shit. I know I wrote about Mao. I'm not a Maoist anymore. I know I wrote about rad queers. I'm not a rad queer anymore. I know I wrote about accelerationism. I'm not an accelerationist anymore. Uh, I know I wrote about palingenesis. I don't like palingenesis. I think it's reactionary and I think it's bad and it's oppressive. I wrote about anarchism. I'm not an anarchist anymore. Just literally whatever in the first section. It doesn't matter. Okay? In the first half of the second section, I feel like also was like a transition from the first section to the second section proper. The second section I remember writing more, but the first half of the second section I actually don't remember writing that well. I only really remember things that I wrote after a certain point. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Oh, and by the way, look at my cursor. It's ironic. I found a communist cursor and I thought it was so funny. Yeah, I'm not a communist. Yeah, I'm not even a leftist at all anymore. I'm not a rightist. I'm not any form of rightism, but I'm sorry.